Hey everybody, we're going to try an experiment tonight, so I don't know how well this is going to go because my room is not very big and I don't know, if you're going to be able to see me the whole time I'm doing this, but I'm going to do my practice right now, and I figure if you guys want to join in or if you want to watch this later as a video and do your practice, that's cool. I have not scripted anything. I am literally just going to do what feels good. I don't know how long it's going to end up being. I don't know if you're going to be able to see me the whole time, so just kind of bear with me because this is our first go round with this. If it works okay, then, periodically I'll do this. So I just got home from work, and we've been at work since about 9 o'clock this morning. Trying to catch up on jobs, so I'm pretty tired. I didn't get any yoga yesterday, and that's not good. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little practice today. Got my Yogis of Anarchy shirt on. Woohoo! Gotta love it. Alright, so if you want to join in now, go ahead and grab your mat and whatever else you need. I have got 2 bolsters, 2 blankets, and 2 blocks, as well as my mat. And I cannot see anything that anybody's writing, so, hey Brenda. Gotta put my glasses back on. But I don't use those when I practice. So, alright. If you want to join in now, go ahead and join in now. If you want to watch this later as a video, feel free to do so. And we'll just get started. So I'm going to come to the top of my mat, and anybody else who wants to follow, go ahead and do so. Let's come into mountain pose. Really spread your arms out, open your palms, stand up nice and tall. Let's bring the feet to hip width apart or a little bit wider. Relax your shoulders. Just start to breathe. And I really want you to get that breath going. And while you're doing it, really root your feet down into your mat. Just feel the mat beneath you. As you inhale and exhale. Maybe you wiggle your toes around a little bit, or you can sway side to side just to kind of get your roots into your mat, get your breath, start ready to practice. And remember, I can't do a lot of what you guys can do, so I'm just going to do what feels good for me. If you decide you're watching this later and you want to add something in, feel free. It's your practice. Somebody once said that once or twice. Alright, from mountain pose, let's inhale, bringing the arms up, interlace your fingers. On the exhale, we're just going to bend to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Just move with your own breath as you stretch out your sides. Because we just don't stretch our side body enough. We're always so busy going forwards and backwards. Then we're going to separate the hands, soften the knees, and let's fold forward into your standing forward bend. And I apologize because at this point you're probably just seeing my rear end. Try not to stick it in your face. Really soften your knees. Let your head hang down if you can. But of course, your hands are going to go wherever you're comfortable. So whether that's your block or the backs of your legs, the mat, whatever you want to do. Just keep the knees super soft. I'm finding that to be really, really important in my practice. If you want to grab hold of opposite elbows and hang heavy or sway side to side, feel free to do so. And again, if y'all lose my voice at some point, I'll apologize, but hopefully you're hearing me because it is a pretty small room. Just nice deep breaths as we kind of hang out here for a little bit. And I may actually hold poses longer than I normally did in the studio. Just always remember that if you need to come out of it early, go ahead and do so. And I'm going to drop my hands back to the mat. On the inhale, I'm going to take my right leg back. Make sure that left knee is over your ankle. Inhale, rise into warrior one. Making sure your body's at center. Your arms are up. Remember, if your arms get tired, you can always bring your hands into prayer. The back heel can be lifted or set slightly on the mat. I always keep mine lifted because I just can't set it down. This one is still doable for me, but Warrior 2 is a no-no right now. I just can't. So I'm just going to do this. Just nice deep breaths. And then we're going to exhale the hands down to the mat. Push off the back leg, coming back into your standing forward bend. And then we'll take the left leg back. Line up that right knee on top of the ankle. Root down into your feet. Inhale, rise. Once again, trying to keep the body at center. And breathing. And remember, you may not be able to hold something as long as I do, or you may not want to, that's fine. Or if you want to hold it longer, go for it. Everybody's stamina is different, and it changes day to day as well. I'm going to exhale the hands down, push off the back foot, stepping back up. Letting your head lead you on the inhale, rise back. Palms come together, hands into your heart. I'm pretty limited on balancing poses right now because of my hips, so I'm going to do a baby dancer today. So I'm going to start with my left foot back. I'm going to find my focal point, and my right leg is going to be nice and strong, ready to go. I'm probably going to hit the wall, so I better step back a little bit further. All right, find your focal point, keep your breath. When you're ready, taking the left foot into your left hand and opening up. Whoop. Try not to fall out of it. Luckily, I have a wall close by. I'm going to knock my poster off the wall. If you need to use the wall, of course, do so. If you need a strap, use your strap. When you're ready to come out of it, go ahead and do so. And switch sides, but make sure before you switch sides, you've got your focal point, you've got your breath. Take the right foot in the right hand. And open up. Release it whenever you're ready. Whew, that was a good stretch, that felt good. All right, then we're going to come back to the top of our mats. We're going to inhale once again, palms coming together. On the exhale, softening the knees as you fold forward, bringing the hands down to the mat. And then we're going to exhale and walk out into downward facing dog. Really getting the knees soft. The hips are up in the air. We're trying to take as much pressure off our hands as we can. Just breathe. Heads between your arms. Now I cannot go into pigeon, so I'm not going to attempt it, but if you want to go into three-leg down dog just to stretch the leg out, feel free to do so. Try to get as much extension as you can. And then after a few breaths, switch out. This is the best I can do right now. If you're doing three-leg down dog, you can settle the heel of the standing leg a little more towards the mat because your leg is straight. Then release back down, and I'm going to come down onto the mat. And we'll come onto all fours. Hopefully you can still see me somewhat. I don't know if you can or not. But if you can't, you know what I'm about to do. So it's going to be cat-cow, of course. So make sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, spreading your fingers wide. Knees are underneath the hips. Inhale, drop the belly, look up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring your chin into your chest, around your back. And of course you guys aren't with me, so I'll have to do all the stuff myself. Moo. Meow. Because you know, just because we're not together doesn't mean we're not doing it. So now those of you who don't normally do it can do it at home. So just move with your own breath. Oh, that feels good. I can almost hear Kelly mooing and Mary meowing. Which makes me supremely happy, of course. Then on your next inhale, turn your toes under. Let's move back into down dog one more time. Softening the knees, nice and soft. And we're going to inhale. Let's come out into plank. Level out your body. Bring the feet back towards your mat and closer together. Nice deep breaths. On the exhale, we're going to drop the knees, and you can either sit back and come into Cobra or glue the elbows in. Come through 8-point. Let's go into Cobra, and you probably have lost me off the screen at this point. Just keep the elbows glued in. Letting your breath in your hands raise and lower you. Tops of the knees are lifted. Tops of the feet are flat. Oh, there's no top to your knee, is it? That's awesome. I still got it. So silly. Then we're going to drop the knees, push back up onto all fours. Let's grab our blocks. And we're going to come into shoulder stretch on the blocks. So we'll sit back onto the heels. Bring the palms together at the top of the back. And come down onto your blocks, adjusting your blocks however you need them to be, whether that's the high side, the medium side. If you keep your head level with the mat, in other words, you're looking straight at the mat, that gives you a whole different stretch than if you drop your head. So always make this yours. You know, it's very individual. Don't ever worry about doing it the same way I do it, or, you know, anybody else. Not that you can see anybody else, but, and you maybe can't even see me at this point because I've dropped low again. Just breathe. And we'll exhale, coming back up. I'm going to take one block out of the way. I'm going to grab my blanket just to give my knees a little bit of cushion. I'm going to take the other block and put it out in front of me on the low side. I'm going to bring my left foot out and make sure the knee is stacked over the ankle. My right hand's going to go to the block, and I'm going to reach back with my left hand, grab hold of that right foot, and then open up into lizard. Really get your chest open. Remember to make sure that your knee is not splaying out to the side. So if it is, move your foot further toward the edge of your mat. Just breathe, release, and we're going to switch to the other side. So moving the block over to the left, we're going to bring the right leg up, grab hold of the left foot with the right hand, and open your chest up to the right. And I know these views are not ideal because you're getting a lot of the back of my head or my rear end or whatever, but with just my cell phone and this small room, this is what we're going to get. I ain't no professional operation. Exhale and release, but I'm doing the best I can. All right. Then at this point, you can either come into child's pose or you can come into happy puppy, whichever one you prefer. So if you want to come into child's pose, of course, you're going to keep your feet together, widen your knees, and drop your hips back towards your heels. Arms can be out in front or down by your side, whichever one you prefer. If you want to come in a happy puppy, keep the knees underneath the hips, take the arms way out in front. Drop the forehead and the chest towards the mat. Buns stay in the air. Just breathe. Really sink into the stretch. One more nice deep breath. And then we're going to exhale and come out of it. That felt really good. Okay, so I'm going to grab my blankets because I've really been using them quite a bit in my seated stretches. And we're going to come down to seated where I can hear Arlene say, thank you. It's funny how I hear all these things in my head that all you guys did in class, so interesting. Maybe you hear me in your head too. Oh, that's scary. So let's see. I think I'm going to move the camera down just a little bit, so bear with me since I'm coming down to seated. I don't want to lose you guys completely, so let's move down one level and see what we get. Okay, that's pretty good. I may have to move down again in a minute. So I'm going to sit on the front third of my 2 folded blankets, and I'm going to extend my left leg out in front of me and bring the right foot to my shin. You can come up to the inside of your thigh if you want, but right now I'm still not able to do that. If you're sitting on the floor, go ahead and pull your butt luggage out from under you because we're taking a trip, as Rose would tell us. We're going to bring the fingertips to the floor beside us. Make sure your left foot is flexed. Inhale, let's bring the arms up and really lengthen. Come up out of your waist and out of your hips. And then exhale, Kelly, take an extra breath. And we fold forward, taking your hands to wherever you're comfortable tonight. Breathing. Try to keep your back as flat as possible and your neck neutral. Just because you're at home and I can't see you doesn't mean you get to turtle tuck. Okay? So keep the crown of your head lined up down your spine. Remember, you put too much pressure on your neck when you start dropping your head. Just breathe as we're in Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. Really stretching out the backs of the legs. And I'm finding as I go through what is essentially a rehab process is that these poses are really so beneficial to me because the back of my legs are so tight. My hamstrings, my calf muscles, everything is just, ugh. I can feel it all the way up into my butt luggage. Oh, so really just stretch, breathe. Try to make your poses as fluid as possible. So as you're breathing, your body should be moving. Maybe not as much as mine, but there should be some movement so you're not just static. Just really sink into this. And then we're going to exhale and come back up. And we're going to bring that right foot to the inside of the thigh. Adjust it wherever you need to along your leg. Let's bring the right hand behind us. Inhale, we're going to bring the left arm up. And exhale, we're going to twist to the right into Marishasana 3. Oh, those twists feel good, don't they, Arlene? Just use your backhand for very light support. Looking either to your side or over your shoulder, whatever your neck is going to allow. I like to look over my shoulder because it gives me a complete twist, but sometimes that's not possible, so don't push it. Then we're going to exhale, turn forward, and switch the legs out. And I'm hoping that as I do this, I'm not going to lose the natural light, because then I have to turn the lights on here and it gets a little crazy. All right, so we're going to extend the right leg now and bring the left foot in. And it's funny because I'm so used to mirroring you guys that now I'm looking at my feet going, wait, which one is which? It's crazy stuff. Oops, and my tummy just rumbled. All right, so let's bring the fingertips out to the floor beside us. Inhale, bringing the arms up. Stretch, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Once again, keeping your back as flat as possible. Your neck is neutral. Just breathe. Take your hands to wherever you're good tonight.
You know, some days you're going to touch your feet, maybe, other days not, maybe never. Go easy on yourself. Everybody has a different comfort zone. Sometimes I find that I'll start with my hands on my foot, and then after I've really been stretching out, it becomes too much almost, and then I'll move my hands back onto my shin. So always listen to your body, and never, ever, ever push it past the point of pleasant pain, as I once said in class. Because we want to get the benefit of the stretch, but we're not in competition, you know? Sometimes we compete with ourselves even, and it's just ridiculous. So just let your body do what it wants to do, and, you know, honor and listen to your body. Because your body knows better a lot of times than your brain does. Sometimes your brain does stupid things. And I don't mean to personally offend anybody, but sometimes all of our brains do stupid things. Because we're just trying to prove something. We're not thinking. Just keep breathing. Then at the end of your next exhale, walk your hands back in. Ooh. And we're going to bring that left foot flat to the mat, bringing the left hand behind us. Let's inhale, bringing the right arm up, and exhale, twist. And again, you can look to your side or over your shoulder, whatever you want. And I don't know if you guys can hear the music playing while I'm talking. I turned it down fairly low because I didn't want it to interfere. But when you're doing your practice at home, if you want music, whatever kind you want, feel free. You know, I'm listening to yoga radio on Pandora. But if you want to listen to heavy metal or classical or jazz or whatever you want to do, turn it on. It's your practice. You know, I would have listened to different things in the studio, but I know it was a little bit distracting. Like us talking and mooing wasn't distracting, right? Right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move the blankets out from under me now. And I'm going to come into Dandasana, staff pose. So make sure that your feet are flexed. Pull your butt luggage out because we're going on the second part of the trip. We're going to bring the hands down to the floor beside us. Sitting up nice and tall, relax your shoulders. Remember, if your arms are really long, you can bend your elbows. If you want to lean forward slightly to engage your core, feel free. Just breathe for a few breaths. That sounded stupid, didn't it? Breathe for a few breaths. Y'all know what I meant. Then we're going to inhale, bring the arms up. Once again, lengthen coming out of the hips and the waist. And exhale, fold forward into seated forward bend, Paschimottanasana. Taking your hands to wherever you're comfortable tonight. Just breathe. Remember, this is one of the best stretches we can do for flexibility. So we want to really breathe into it. We want to keep our backs as flat as we can. I've been trying to do this one longer than I normally would because I'm really trying to keep my legs stretched out. One of the detriments of sitting so much is that your hamstrings tighten up, backs of your legs get really stiff. And I'm having to sit more and more because I'm trying to keep off of my feet as much as I can to give them a chance to heal. But then I come home at night and I sit and everything's just so tight, it feels horrible. So I'm really trying to stay in this pose longer than I normally would. But what I'm also finding, and this is no offense to any of you guys, because you know I love y'all more than anything. I miss you so much. But now that I have my own practice back, I'm actually breathing more, I'm staying in poses more, I'm breathing deeply, I'm using my props. Before, I was either always prepping for a class, or when I had time to do my own practice, I shortchanged myself. I wouldn't use the props. I wasn't breathing as deeply as I should have. I was just kind of rushing through it and not really being playful with my practice, not taking my time. And I realize now that that was not only really bad for me, but it was probably not so good for you guys either, because I wasn't getting my own practice in, and maybe that made me a little bit less effective of a teacher. I'm not sure. But I am really getting back into my practice now, and it's really nice to have that, even though, like I said, I miss you guys a ton. Love you. So we're just going to breathe. At this point, we've probably been in this about a minute or so, which is a pretty good long time. Uncle Lex said 2 to 5 minutes every day. I haven't been able to swing that yet, but, maybe someday. And then we'll exhale and walk the hands back in. If you want your blankets for wide legs seated forward bend, go ahead and get them. I'm just going to go ahead and come into it. So let's spread the legs out wide. Pull the butt luggage out from under you. Get a little bit of a forward tilt. Make sure your feet are flexed. Let's bring the hands to the mat in front of us. And we're going to exhale and walk forward. You can take the hands and keep them on the mat. You can take hold of your big toes if you would prefer. Whatever is up to you. And of course, if you can't come down very far, that's fine. Just sit with your palms to the mat. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Make sure that your head is lined up with your spine. That's the important thing. The chest is open. You don't want to close up, because not everybody can go down like that, and that's fine. We can't all reach as far on the mat in this pose. If you can, then go ahead and move your palms forward. But again, keep the crown of your head lined up down your spine. Trust me, you're doing your neck a favor when you do this. Just keeping the back flat. But we want to make sure our chests stay open. Our shoulders are back so they're not rounded off and icky. That's a technical yoga term, icky. I know, I amuse myself. Well, somebody's got to do it, other than Ken. Ken amuses me, but don't tell him that, because I don't let him know that I think he's funny. Sometimes he's not funny, but most of the time he is. And he's really happy because I gave him a birthday cake, and Arlene gave him a cake too, so he's thrilled. He's had lots of cake. Just breathe. At the end of your exhale, let's walk the hands back in. Now, sometimes when I'm doing that one, I've been using 2 blocks and a purple bolster stacked up on them to really stay in it for about 3 to 5 minutes, because it just feels really good on my hips and my legs and my groin. And so if you want to do that at any point in time, always use your props to your advantage. Don't be like, oh, I don't need props, because you know how I am about that. Props help you get deeper into a pose and help you do a pose more safely and more effectively. So if you don't need the props, that's fine, but if you need them for something, use them. All right, we're going to release the hips one at a time, grabbing hold of the knees with the feet spread nice and wide. Let's come up into birthing baby pose. That's what I'm going to call it, because that's what it makes me think of, even though I've never had one of them. I'll take the fur babies any day, and they're driving me crazy lately, but they've both been sick. Sasha's just getting over it. Sadie's fine. Relax your shoulders. All right, then from here, if you want to come into bound angle, go ahead and bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees fall out to the side. I'm not going to do it, so I'm just going to wait and give you guys a few breaths. I still can't access bound angle. It's just not in my wheelhouse. So grab hold of your ankles or wrap your fingers around your toes. On the exhale, pulling down into bound angle. Bind it up, Beth. We love you, girl. We hope you're hanging in there. We know you're not having a great time lately. Just breathe. Just going to give y'all a few breaths here. And then we'll exhale and come on back up and bring the knees together. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to come down on my back for just a little bit, and I think I'm going to lower the camera one more time. I can't access most of the poses that we do on our backs because I just can't do the twist. It's really frustrating to me because I love those poses. I can't do reclining hand to big toe. So I'm going to lower the camera one more time, I think. Let's see if I can get it down a little bit lower. I'm using one of my little, one of the little figures that's set on oh golly, the thing at the front, the cabinet. The little wood statue, I'm using that to prop up my camera. So funny. Okay, so what I can do on my back, I'm going to come on down onto my back. Bring my feet flat and bring the knees into the chest on the inhale. I'm going to cross my ankles and I'm going to rock and cradle rock. If you want to go into happy baby, feel free to do so. And that's just not a great one for me. So at this point you can see my knees. I don't know if you can see me because I've got comments on the screen, so I can't see everything that you guys are seeing. Really take your time, breathe. Working into any place in your back that doesn't feel so great, which right now is everything for me. With Sasha being sick, I'm having to hold her back end up when she's outside going to the bathroom. And I'm bent over while I'm doing it because obviously she's shorter than me. And she gets so freaked out by what's happening that she's literally running me around the yard in circles. So picture me at 3 o'clock in the morning in my jammies, my flip-flops, and my coat, holding onto the back end of my dog and running around the yard in circles as she, empties out her insides. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. And that's been going on for several days. But hopefully she's better now. We were finally able to take the diapers off, so she was happy about that. Alright, then we're going to come to a stop. Uncross. We're going to go ahead and take the feet back down flat to the mat again. And really, the only other pose that I have access to on my back right now is Easy Bridge. So making sure that your feet are underneath your knees and about hip width apart. Palms are down by your side. On the inhale, pushing into your feet and your hands. Let's lift the hips into Easy Bridge. If you want to roll and tuck your shoulders underneath, feel free. Make sure that the knees are being hugged together and that you release the chin away from your chest. Just breathe it out. This one's good for me. And we're going to exhale down. If your arms were tucked under or your shoulders were tucked under, go ahead and release them. So at this point, I'm going to roll over and come back up. I'm going to go into legs up the wall pose, but you guys are welcome to go into Shavasana. You can do reverse Shavasana if you want to lay on your tummy. Whatever you want to do, get your props to make sure you're comfortable. I'm going to take my bolster. Let me move the other bolster out of the way and my blankets as well. And I got to rearrange my mat, so while I'm doing that, you guys can be getting into this at home. I don't have a way to time this, obviously, because I'm going to be up against the wall and, you know, I don't have the phone next to me. So we're just going to go into this for a little bit. When I'm done and I'm ready to come out of it, if you guys want to stay in Shavasana longer because it is your practice and you're at home, go ahead and do so. And I'm going to go ahead and end the video when I'm done, or end the live. So if you're going to go on the legs up the wall, take one hip to the baseboard. As you're coming down onto your back, swing your feet up. I like to put a purple bolster right under my sacrum and then wiggle my buns to the wall because it just gives me a little support. I'm going to take my legs up. If you're in Shavasana, let's take the legs out to the width of the mat. Let your feet and ankles roll out to the side. Your arms can be down by your side, or you can rest your hands on top of one another on your belly. Close your eyes. Bring your breath back to its natural rhythm. Let's just focus on the breath and just relax. Resting everything into the mat. Let's start to slowly come out of whatever pose you're in, whether that's Shavasana or legs up the wall. Just get some movement back into your body. When you're ready, rolling to one side. You can rest there for a breath or two. And we'll come gently back to seated. You can come back into easy pose. I kind of threw this together at the last minute, so I didn't do a final thought, so I'll post one later tonight. So for right now, just to close things out, and I'm sorry I don't have the little tinkas anymore. I'll have to go find some of those. The light and the soul and the spirit in me acknowledges and appreciates the light and the soul and the spirit in each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Namaste. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend, and I hope you enjoyed this practice. So I love you guys, and I gotta find my glasses so I can make a video. I will check back in with you later. Have a great weekend.